To go back to answer this question real fast, am I a comic creator or a graphic novelist? It- So, it, most comic creators or people that make comic books th- consider themselves separate from graphic novelists. It's kind of like there's two worlds. There are people that who who are artists who are also writers, and they make kind of their own stories that usually turn into either comic strips or a graphic novel. And you'll find those people call themselves graphic novelists, but they are also artists. They're not just writers. For those that just write graphic novels, I don't know. Most of the time, they just call themselves authors. And then they hire artists to create a graphic novel. I've never really met someone that's like, I'm a graphic novelist who doesn't know how to draw, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And in a general sense, graphic novels go directly to bookstores, whereas comic books go directly to comic shops. And there's a lot of gray area where it's in between, but most of my work goes to comic shops and it's released as comic books in a series that are eventually released as what they call trade paperbacks, which can also be called graphic novels because the graphic novels then are sold in bookstores. So if I'm talking to someone that knows nothing about comic books and but knows a lot about, let's just say, film or something like that, or I'll say, yeah, I write graphic novels. For somebody that's already in the industry that makes independent comic books or something, they would be like, we're kind of like, what do you mean you're a graphic novelist? And then as far as the difference between a writer and a creator, that's sort of a gray area to where most of the time, if you say you're a comic creator, it's a kind of the same thing where you do both. You are the writer and the artist, but sometimes there's writers that are also artists, but they're not as good at, let's say, artwork. So they're primarily an artist, or are primarily a writer, but
Okay.
they'll sometimes do artwork for some people, but maybe not as a high professional level, or vice versa. Someone's a great artist, but not a great writer, and they'll write their own kind of thing that they might self publish, but they might be known as an artist on Marvel and DC or something like that. And someone who's a combined, they might call themselves a comic creator rather than I'm a comic artist or a comic writer or something, just to combine to be both. I'm a creator. At the same time, a creator is actually a title. So it's almost so in the same sense, if you're a writer and you hire an artist, you are the creator of the IP and you hired out the artist, and you as the creator credit basically means you own the IP of those characters and so on,
Interesting.
unless the artist also owns part of that IP, and then you call yourselves co-creators. So if someone sees that credit as co-created by writer so and so, co-created by artist so and so, that means that they collectively own the IP together. Whereas if I'm the just the writer, I might call myself the creator of the series or the creator owner of the IP because no one wants to say owner. It
Yeah.
just doesn't look right, I guess, on or something like that. It's kind of strange, and that's kind of why I have this whole channel. Is because those that are in this industry as writers or artists or both, or don't even know what they are, they just make art and they're just trying to tell stories. They don't know the ins and outs of the business side of this whole thing, especially like what does it mean to be a graphic novelist or something like that, and how does it affect my career, so to speak, or what should I be striving for as a young person straight out of high school? What actually makes money? What does it mean? Things like that. No one really teaches you because it's not really something you learned in school, I guess. And then even whenever you're in the industry, everything's broken up and everybody's kind of compartmentalized to where they do their one little thing for one. It's just like any other industry to where everybody is kind of niche to their own aspect, and unless you're in it doing it, no one's going to tell you what to do. You just kind of figure it out for yourself.
I really like what you said, and we see that with authors all the time that you set out to share a story. You want to share your art or your story. You're not thinking so much about, okay, how do I market this? How do I turn this into a business? A lot of times that comes after your art is created, after the story is kind of in you and you're sharing it. And that's kind of where, I really appreciate your channel too, because you do delve into those topics. How do you market your graphic novel? What's the difference between comics and graphic novels? Just piecing those out and trying to get a better understanding of what you're working with and actually how to use it is so important.
Yeah, thank you.